Hey y'all, it's Steffi and welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to chat with y'all about work-life balance while working from home. So I've been working from home since the end of March, and I know many of you guys are in the same boat, and we probably are going to be working from home for a little bit longer. Of course, I'm so grateful for that, but with working from home, there's definitely some challenges, and I shared that during my last vlog, or a few vlogs ago. I don't know how long it's been since, anyways, I don't know when I'm posting this video, so I'll link that vlog here in the cards, where I do share some of the struggles that I've been having with working from home. Y'all know me, when I recognize that something is not going ideally, I try to problem solve and just implement little things in my day to help that. To share some tips and some food for thought for you guys to put more balance into your life while working from home. So let's just jump right into the video. Before we get into the meat of the video, I wanted to share just some of my thoughts on work-life balance and working from home real quick, okay? So of course, I'm so grateful that I have the ability to work from home. I've talked about that in one of my videos about whenever we first started working from home all together. So I'll link that in the cards for you guys if you haven't seen it. I know many of us feel the same way. I think a lot of us have been working past the point of burnout because we feel like, you know, we should be grateful to have our jobs and to be able to work from home. And to an extent, I feel that has done a little bit of harm to, you know, mental well-being, physical and emotional well-being, and those are all very important things, especially during this time, you know, in this time that we're in right now. So important to stay grateful every day. Obviously, I have a sign up there to remind me to be grateful every day, but I think we have to put in balance and have to put in boundaries in our lives. Once you're working past the point of burnout, you're not bringing your best self to work. If it's a consistent thing and you're not bringing your best self to work and you're not bringing your best self to your overall life, and of course, I think, you know, there's more to life than just work. I obviously have been a very big proponent of working hard for what you want, and I still believe that. At the same time, the past few years, I've learned that, you know, you can still get a lot of stuff done for work. You can be super productive and be effective and efficient, but you don't have to put in, like, you don't always have to work crazy amounts of hours. Like, if that is the case, there's something wrong, you know, fundamentally there. Of course, I'm not talking about like if you're in busy season and you're required by your firm to work a certain number of hours, of course, do that, you know what I mean? But I do feel like our lives should not always be wound up in work. The moves that I've made throughout my career have been to get me to a point where when I'm working, I'm being productive, I'm getting shit done, I'm effective, but the number of hours I put in should not be reflective of my work and my quality and of my value as an employee. You know, my work should speak for itself, and I think that does that when I'm most effective and I'm not just like completely burned out. Of course, there are times in our career, in our lives, that we're going to be working crazy hours. That is a given, and I'm not saying only work 40 hours, because you can still work only 40 hours and not be producing at the level that you could be, and like you could be only working 40 hours and that's not your potential, and your work quality and your work output is not reflective of your potential. So anyways, okay, I'm going off into a tangent now. This video is for those of us who have been working past the point of burnout, and hopefully by implementing little things throughout the week, hopefully every day, but if not every week, hopefully that can help you just get to a more refreshed place, feel a little bit more, I guess, happy, or be in a better mental, emotional state. I think the term work-life balance can be a little misleading because it makes it sound like work and life will always be balanced, but that's not the case. Sometimes work will take more priority because of deadlines or whatever's going on, and your personal life will have to kind of, you know, take a backseat for a little bit. It shouldn't be always everything is about work and your personal life is on the back burner for, you know, extended amounts of time, if that's not what you want out of your life, of course. So hopefully the tips that I give you guys today, you know, I'm not saying you need to do each of these things every single day. Even for me, I don't always get to fit in everything I want to during the day with what I have going on with work and with what I have in my personal life. Sometimes my little time for myself, I don't get that, and I want you guys to know that's normal. If you're not doing basically anything for yourself now, like if you are at 0 for the entire week, maybe start baby steps. Try doing something once a week, maybe every other day. That's the end of my mindset chat, so here is tip number 1. My first tip for you guys is to block off your lunch hour. In my public accounting days, typically my lunch hour was not like my own, it wasn't really like taking a lunch. Sometimes we go out to eat, which is fine, but typically if I was having my lunch hour at public accounting, it would be bringing in food and eating at my desk and working through lunch. I almost never just if I wasn't going out for lunch, I never sat away from my computer and went to a courtyard to eat lunch or something like that. That wasn't a thing for me in public accounting. In industry, I started doing that where I would either go to the gym. You guys know that when I was working in the office, I would go to the gym pretty much every single day for the most part, maybe 3 to 4 days out of the week. Or I would go and I'd sit with my colleagues away from my desk and eat and catch up with my work friends and stuff like that. And that just gives you a little break from the day, and it kind of gives you that little refresher instead of being in front of your desk all day long or getting yourself out of the work. So obviously working from home, it is so easy for us to work through lunch. Sometimes you don't get a lunch because you've been in meetings back to back to back to back. So one thing that I think would be helpful is to block off your calendar for your lunchtime. That way, hopefully no one will schedule a meeting with you during that time. Obviously, one-offs can happen and will happen, but to give yourself a little bit of time to get away from your computer, to actually eat your food with intention and with concentrating on what you're doing. You don't necessarily have to take the whole hour. I know that we all have deadlines and we have things to do. Faster than that, that's fine, but at least you're giving yourself time to take care of yourself, to eat something, to work out, to I don't know, walk around your neighborhood. Also, tip number 2 kind of goes on with this is, to get moving, to do something physical. If you can't do it every single day, try to do it, as often as you possibly can. You guys have seen that I, built my home gym here in my garage. So 3 days out of the week, I am working out, and I can't tell you how much that has helped me, physically, emotionally, mentally. It really does help, kind of boost my mood for the day, especially when you're working from home and when you've got a lot of stuff going on. It's really, really helpful. I don't know about y'all, but I am in meetings all the damn time. I feel like I'm constantly in meetings and I can't find focus time to actually sit and get stuff done. And typically that focus time ends up being after your normal work hours. So after I've taken care of Juicy and Mike and I have had dinner together, I'll get back online and work for, two or so hours. But I don't mind that as much whenever I know I've taken care of myself and I know that I have to do it. One thing I really like about my job is I know what I need to get done. If I can't get that done in my normal work hours, I'm going to go ahead and do that after hours or whatever. No one has to tell me that. It's on my own volition because I don't have I don't have to work 60 hours a week. If I do, then I do that because I had to, but I'm not doing it because I have to meet a certain hour requirement, if that makes any sense. The times when I feel the most burned out and the most pissed off with my situation is if I haven't had any time to take care of myself throughout the day. I do block off time for focus time, but most often something will pop up, a meeting I'm needing to be pulled off of what I'm needing to focus on to do something else, and my day gets away with me, so I don't get to finish what I need to finish, what I absolutely have to finish. So by me getting in my workout, during lunchtime, I can get that checked off my list. I feel great. I know that I've done something nice for myself, that I'm doing something for my personal life. It's not something that just didn't happen. So whether that's working out in the morning time before work starts or doing it during lunch, finding time for yourself earlier in the day if possible. Many of us are working later in the evenings anyways, typically because then we don't have meetings with other people and we can have some nice focus time. Kind of jumbled a bunch of things together in that one. I can tell you for a fact that I see a physical difference within myself from the day I started to now. Obviously, you know, there's partially that's normal wear and tear for, you know, aging 10 years, but that's not all of it. A lot of it has to do with me being sedentary for a very long time. Sitting hunched over for a certain amount of time for years. Like for me, I can notice like my posture. I have to think about my posture now, keeping my shoulders back, because I've spent so much time in my career going like this. Partially why I work out is to keep things in proper alignment, to strengthen certain muscles that have been neglected for years because I've been sitting on my butt all day, you know, things like that. Anyways, I say that because had I known this 10 years ago, I would have been a lot more mindful about staying active as best as I could, whether that's taking the stairs instead of the elevator, you know, every 50 minutes, getting up and, you know, just stretching your legs for even a minute, like just getting active after sitting down for a long period of time. I would have done that had I known this earlier in my career. So I hope by sharing that with you guys, you'll be more mindful of that. It's so easy for us to literally be glued to our desk for hours on end, and I hope that this can be a little reminder for you guys to just get up and move every now and then. You know, I'm not saying every 50 minutes take a 10-minute break, you know. This isn't the office, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it'll be like your hourly reminder to go walk and get some water and walk back. You know, at least you're moving yourself and you're staying hydrated because you're drinking water. Drink your water, take care of yourself, take your vitamins and everything. But yeah, that's so important. Just staying active will help with, you know, that feeling of burnout, will help with mental clarity. So that's a bunch of tips kind of jumbled together. Tip number 3, please take your PTO during this time. Y'all know me, I do love me a staycation. Even before COVID, I would take off a week and I wouldn't be going nowhere, I would just be here. But for real, like, it's so important still to take your PTO, still disconnect from work, you know, especially now things are it's different, that work can very easily just overtake everything, you know, and taking a day off here or there can do wonders for just getting refreshed again, to come back and feel more just effective and more clear-minded. I'm saying the same things, but you guys know what I mean. Like, I think a lot of us are working past a point. It's like you're walking through mud. It's so hard. Even like once you start feeling like tasks that should take you 30 minutes are taking you hours, that's when you know you're starting to get to the point of burnout. If you've been at like a very high level of output and of productivity for a long time, and now you're starting to feel a little bit slower, things aren't clicking as fast, you don't have that focus like you used to, it's time to get refreshed, recharge, take a day, as many days as you can, and just recharge and see how you feel afterwards. You come back to work and you may feel the same, or hopefully you will feel better and feel more refreshed and just, you know, feel more productive. And don't let anyone make you feel bad for needing to take a day off. Even outside of COVID, I still think it's important to take time to take care of yourself, to unplug, to be your own person, to not just always be working, especially in certain industries and professions. Of course, I think there's a misconception that the number of hours you put in is equal to the amount of output that you're going to be able to do. Like, if you take 14 hours, you're going to get so much more stuff done every single day, when that may not be the case. You could potentially get the same amount of work done with better quality in less time if you weren't always working past burnout, like being burned out. So that's just some food for thought. Hopefully y'all will think about that, especially if you're in a position of influence. So our 4th talking point, I don't know if it's a tip, it's just food for thought, is that working late should be a one-off. Of course, like I said, if you're required to do a certain number of hours, like in public accounting, you know, it is what it is, that's what you sign up for. But like, for those of us who don't have an hours requirement other than your 40-hour work week, you know, if you are working late every single day for a extended amount of time, that is of course up to you and your typical job duties and everything, then something needs to be fixed. You know, either you need to have more clarity on your tasks, Maybe you need to take a day off just to recharge so you can, be more focused and get more done and be more productive. Maybe, like many of us, we are holding multiple jobs at one time, and it's just you're having to work a ton more because you're doing basically 2 jobs or more. If that's the case, of course, talking to, your boss and just explaining to them the situation and the fact that you're feeling burned out and all this other jazz. Like, I think if you are a true leader and a person of influence, then you should really be caring about the people around you, their well-being, their overall well-being. It does no good for anyone to have people burned out and to have people, miserable. We already are in a miserable year. We should be doing our best to take care of each other. If you find yourself working late often and that's not the norm or the requirement, then something needs to be fixed, and I encourage you guys to reach out for help, reach out for guidance from your boss or your supervisor to work something out. It may not change overnight, but at least you can have steps in place to get better, to not have to do the number of hours that you're doing right now. I always feel like it's better to be proactive that way. Once you identify something's going on, proactively discussing that with people, and maybe you can't figure it out on your own, and that's why it's okay to ask for help. So tip number 5 is to log off at a normal time once a week. Even when I was in public accounting, this is something that I did with my teams. Busy season, we would leave at a normal time on Fridays because we would end up working on Saturday or the weekend because of busy season. But even now, a lot of us are working way more than 40 hours a week, Monday through Thursday. So on Fridays especially, I will always log off at a normal time as best as I can. There's some Fridays where I have to work later because I have stuff to do, but for the most part, like, if I have to tell myself, hey, log off at a certain time, and my boss is very supportive of this as well. Like, I know I've done everything I could for this week. There's always going to be more work. It's always going to be there. So taking a little bit of time, just to give yourself that little piece of normalcy, that can also be very helpful and help you feel like you have a little bit more work-life balance by being able to log off, and for real log off. Like, don't just log off and sign back on later on that evening. Try your best to set that boundary for yourself. My last kind of tip or food for thought are for those of y'all who are in a position of influence. Whether you supervise people, you manage people, you are a partner or a director or whoever, if you are able to influence the people who you work with, this is for you. And even if you're a staff, if you hear me talking about this, I encourage you to talk to your seniors or your bosses about ways to, put more work-life balance, to increase productivity, and to get people past burnout. Please listen to the tips and food for thought that I've given today. Our responsibility as, people who are leading others or who manage people, who supervise people, to set that example. Sometimes people will not feel comfortable or empowered to put work-life balance into their lives because they feel like they have to work this way to get ahead. And I really want to change that mindset that the number of hours is reflective of your output or your productivity, because it's not. It really isn't. Bringing the best out of people, they are working at their highest potential. I think that would do wonders for all of us. So I really, really encourage you guys to think of ways to put work-life balance in for your teams, to take care of people, because this is some crazy ass times and we should be taking care of each other. The tips that I've given you guys today, if they don't work for your situation, hey, I get that, but there's got to be something that you can do to put a little bit more personal life well-being into your day or your week. Please lead by example. Like, if you tell people, hey, log off at 5 o'clock on Fridays, log off at 5 o'clock on Fridays. Like, set that example, show people that it's okay to do that, and they will follow in your footsteps. Of course, be very clear that, like, we're going to put more balance into our lives. We're going to be taking care of ourselves a little bit more, but that doesn't mean that our quality slips. That doesn't mean we don't meet deadlines. Like, we still got to meet these deadlines, but hopefully by being more refreshed, we'll hit this without having to put in all these crazy hours. Put some thought into this of how do you take care of your people more. All right, y'all, so those are my current tips and food for thought about putting in a little bit more balance into our lives and just, you know, taking care of ourselves a little bit more while working from home. I hope that there was something here today that was helpful for you. If there was, then please be sure to give it a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to be a part of our Subby fam because we would love to have you. I hope y'all stay safe, stay healthy, and stay positive, and I'll talk to y'all in my next video. So today I wanted, okay. And hopefully it'll be helpful for me. So if you have to get back to your computer faster than that, you know, over time it has created impingements. I really do encourage you guys to take heed, well, it is now 4:30 and someone requested to come out here and get some sun time. That looks cozy, huh? So cozy.